Okay, let's look into question number 31. Your company sells service to photographers where patents can preview the photos that they want prints for. To avoid unauthorized copy, the sample photos have low resolution and are watermarked. The photos are processed after they are uploaded. The process is fast but not immediate. It creates samples and sends them to a storage outside of the instance. Which type of instance is deal for process like this? Short-lived and one that keep the cost low. Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, burstable instance. Burstable instances are designed for baseline workloads with occasional spikes, not ideal for transit batch jobs. So, not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B, spot instance. Spot instance offers low cost compute for short lived, fault tolerant tasks like image processing and watermarking. So, option B might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C, on-demand instance provide flexibility but at higher cost compared to spot pricing for short tasks. So option C not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number D, preemptible instance. Preemptible instance belong to Google Cloud, not applicable for Oracle Cloud infrastructure environments. So option D not a correct choice. So option B, spot instance, the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 32. Which statement accurately describes the key feature and benefits of OCI confidential computing? Okay, let's look into the options. Option E, encrypting and isolates in use data and the application processing the data, thereby preventing unauthorized access or modification. Confidential computing protects in-use data by encrypting the isolation it during processing and it prevents from unauthorized access. So option A not a correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 32. Which statement accurately describes the key feature and benefits of OCI confidential computing? Okay, let's look into the options. Option E, it's encrypting the isolation in use data and application processing the data thereby preventing unauthorized access or modification. Confidential computing protect in use data by encrypting and isolation it during process to prevent unauthorization. So might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number B, provides automatical scalability and load balancing capability which allow seamless integration with other cloud providers. Scalability and integration are features of OCI compute and networking, not confidential computing which focus on data in use protection. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C, network optimization. It optimizes network performance and reduce latency through advanced routing algorithm and caching mechanism. Network optimization and caching are performance features, not part of confidential computing data in use protection. So option C not a correct choice. Moving on to option number D, it enables users to securely store and retrieve data by using distributed file system, ensuring high availability and fault tolerance. Distribution file system handles storage and availability, not in use data protection like confidential computing does. So option D not a correct choice again. So option A will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 33. You create a file system and then add 1 GB file. Then take a snapshot of the file system after the hourly update cycle. It's complete. The total metadata bytes shown by the file storage service remain at 1 GB. Then you override the file 0.5 GB for the file. What should you be the total metabyte shown by the file storage service after the hourly update cycle is complete? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, 0.5 GB. Megabyte would be not B 0.5 GB because the snapshot remain the original 1 GB even after the partial overwrite. So option A not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B 1.5 GB. Overwriting 0.5 GB for a file after snapshot cause meterbyte to increase to 1.5 GB as the both original and modified blocks are retained. So option B might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C 1 GB. Meterbyte remain at 1 GB only if no changes are made, but overwriting triggers additional storage usage. So option C not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number D 2.5 GB. 2.5 GB overestimated usage since only 0.5 GB are overwritten data adds to an original 1 GB due to snapshot copy on write. So option D not a correct choice again. So option B will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 34. Which two statements are about the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure File Service Storage File Service are accurate? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A. File system use Oracle managed keys by default. OCI file storage applies encryption at rest automatically using Oracle managed key unless a bought key is specific. Option A might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number B. Mount target use Oracle managed key by default. Mount targets are network endpoints and do not involve encryption key management. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C. Communication with file system in a mount target in encrypting via HTTPs. Mount target use NFS protocol, not HTTP or file system access. So option C not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number D. Customer can encrypt data in their file system using their own vault encryption key. Users can assign their own vault managed AES keys for encryption, enabling full control over key lifecycle and access. So option D might be a potential answer. So option A and D will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 35. You have an object stored in an OCI object storage bucket that you want to share with an partner company. You decided to use pre-authenticated request to grant access to the objects. Which statement is true about pre-authenticated request? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, you need to provide OCI credential for the partner company. PARs allow access without sharing credential. So option A not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B. You cannot edit or pre-authenticated request. PARs are immediate changes require deletion and recreation. So option B might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C. Deleting a pre-authenticated request does not revoke user access to the associate bucket or object. Deleting a PAR does not revoke access immediately. So option C not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number D. Pre-authenticated requests can be used to delete buckets or objects. PARs do not support deleting operation, only read or write access. So option D not a correct choice. So option B will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 36. You can attach resource to a dynamic routing gateway. Select three of these resources. Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, virtual circuit. Virtual circuit enables fast connect attachment to a DRG or private connectivity. Option A might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option B, subnet. Subnet belong to VCN and only VCNs can attach to a DRGs. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C, IPsec tunnel are used to site-to-site VPN connection via DRG. So option C also looking good. Moving on to option number D, remote peering connection enables cross-region or cross-tenancy DRG peering. So option D also looking good. So option A, C and D will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 37. You are using a custom application with third-party APIs to manage the application and data hosted in an Oracle Cloud Infrastructure tenancy. Although your third-party APIs do not support OCI signature-based authentication, you want them to connect communication with OCI resources. With authorization application should you use to ensure this? Okay, option number A, auth tokens. Auth tokens allow secure access to OCI resources via third-party APIs that don't support signature-based authentication. So option A might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option B, API signing key. An API signing key requires signature-based authentication, which is unsupported here. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C, SSH key pairs are used for instant access, not API authentication. So option C is a not correct choice. Moving on to option number D, OCI username and password. OCI username and passwords are not secure or supported for API level access to OCI resources. So option D also an incorrect choice. So option A will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 38. You have an instance running in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure that cannot be live migrated during an infrastructure maintenance event. OCI schedules a maintenance due data within 14 to 16 days and sends you a notification, which would happen if you choose not to proactively reboot the instance before the scheduled maintenance due date. Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, you will receive another notification to reboot within the next 14 days. The original notification already includes 14 to 16 days window. So option A not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B. You will receive another notification to reboot within the next 7 days. No second notification is issued. Action is taken at the due date. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C. The instance in reboot migration for you. OCI automatically reboots and migrates the instance if no action is taken. So option C might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number D. The instance will be terminated. OCI does not terminate the instance. It migrates it safely. So option D also the incorrect choice. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 39. What are the two types of capture filtering that can be created for network monitoring? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A, flow control capture filters and traffic capture filters. Not validate OCI terminology. This filters types does not exist. So option not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B, flow log capture filters and packet capture filters. Packet captures it's not supported filter type of in UCI. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C, VTAPs capture filters and network capture filters. Network capture filter is a not defined OCI filter category. So option C not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number D, flow log captures filters and VTAPs capture filters. OCI support these two types of capture filters to selectively monitor traffic for flow logs and virtual test access points for VTAPs. So option D is the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 40. As a network engineering responsible for managing the virtual network infrastructure on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, for your organization, you decided to utilize the network virtualizer tool provided by the OCI. Why is the network visualizer tool valuable for managing virtual network infrastructure of OCI? Okay, let's look into the options. Option E, it generates automated reports on social network performance metric, facilitating decision making for optimizing network resource and bandwidth allocation. Network Visualizer does not generate performance metric or reports. So option is not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B. It provides detailed information about the physical network components. Network visualizer focus on virtual component, not physical infrastructure. So again the wrong choice. Moving on to option number C. It visualizes the typology of all VCN in a selective region and tenancy, allowing for constant understanding on their relationship and connection. Network Visualizer display the VCN topology within the region and tenancy, helping user understand resource relationship and connectivity. So option C looking good. Okay, let's look into question number 40. As a network engineering responsible for managing the virtual network infrastructure or Oracle Cloud Infrastructure (OCI) for your organization, you decided to utilize the Network Visualizer tool provided by OCI. Why is the Network Visualizer tool valuable for managing virtual network infrastructure in OCI? Okay, let's look into the options. Option E. It generates automated reports on network performance metric, facilitating decision making for optimizing network resources and bandwidth allocation. Network Visualizer does not generate performance metric on reports, so option is not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B. It provides detailed information about the physical network components. Network Visualizer focus on virtual components, not physical infrastructure. So option B not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number C. It visualizes the typology of all VCNs in a selected region and tenancy, allowing for a conscious understanding of their relationship and connection. Network Visualizer display the VCN typology within the region and tenancy, helping user understand resources, relationship, and connectivity. So option C might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number D. It offers real-time monitoring of network traffic, enabling proactive identification of security threats and unauthorized access attempts. Network Visualizer does not provide real-time traffic monitoring or threat detection capabilities. So option D not a correct choice again. So option C will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 41. Company XYZ is spending 3 million USD per month in ingress fees for 7 petabytes, 1 petabyte, 1000 terabytes, and they consume for outbound data transfer in North America with their current cloud provider. The company is seeking to lower the expenses considerably without reducing consumption. You purposely migration to OCI because the gigabyte outbound data transfer in North America cost just 0.0085 USD per month, which OCI and how much will be they spend per month for 7 petabytes of outbound data transfer. 1 terabyte is equal to 100 gigabytes. So let's look into the options. Option A 0.00 free with OCI. OCI offers only the first 10 terabytes per month free, not unlimited outbound data transfer. Therefore, 7 PBs would definitely incur changes. Option A not a correct choice. Moving on to option number B 59415. OCI charges 0.0085 GB for outbound data in North America after subtracting the free 110 TB. The monthly cost of 7 PB is 59/415. So option B might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number C 59500. 59500 is a raw cost without subtracting the free 10 terabytes. So option C is not the correct choice. Moving on to option number D 150000. 150000 is far too high and likely reflect pricing from other cloud provider, not OCI low 0.0085 GB per rate. So option D not a correct choice. So option B will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 42. Which two statements are true about private IP address and Oracle Cloud Infrastructure? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A. By default, the primary VNIC of an instance is a subnet has one primary private IP address. One primary private IP assigned automatically to a private VNIC during instant launch. So option A might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number B. By default, the primary VNIC of an instance is a subnet has one primary private IP address and one secondary private IP address. The primary VNIC does not get a secondary private IP by default. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C. Each VNIC has only one private IP address. A VNIC can have multiple private IPs, including secondary ones. So option C, not a correct choice again. Moving on to option number D. A private IP can have an optional public IP assigned to it if it resides in public subnet. If the subnet allows a public IP can be attached to enable internet access. So option D and option E will be the correct choice. Okay, let's look into question number 43. You need to set up an instance principal so that an application running on an instance can call Oracle Cloud Infrastructure public services without the need of to configure user credential or configuration file. A developer in your team has already configured the application build using an OCI SDK to authenticate using an instant principal provider, which is not a necessary step to complete this step. Okay, let's look into the option. Option E. Generate auth token to enable instance in a dynamic group to authenticate with APIs. Auth tokens are used for user authentication, not required when using instant principals with OCI services. So option A might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number B. Deploy the application and SDK to allow all instance that belongs to the dynamic group. The application and SDK must be deployed to instance in the dynamic group to enable authentication using instant principals. So option B not a correct choice. Moving on to option number C. Create a dynamic group with matching rule to specify which instance can make an API calls against services. A dynamic group defines which instance can act as a principal by matching their metadata with specific rules. So option C also not the correct choice. Moving on to option number D. Create a policy granting permission to a dynamic group to access services in your compartment or tenancy. A policy is required to grant dynamic group permission to access OCI services. So option D also not the correct choice. So option A will be the correct one. Okay, let's look into question number 44. Your plan is to upload a large file to an Oracle Cloud Infrastructure object storage. You would like to minimize impact of network failure while uploading, and therefore you decided to use multi-part upload capability. Which two statements are true about performing a multi-part uploading using the multi-part uploading APIs? Okay, let's look into the options. Option A. When you split the object into individual parts, each part can be large as 50 GIBs. OCI support part size up to 50 GIBs to multi-part support uploads. So option A might be a potential answer. Let's keep it. Moving on to option number B. While the multi-part upload is still active, you can keep adding part as long as the total number is less than 10,000. You can upload up to 10,000 parts while the upload is still active. So option B might be a potential answer. Moving on to option number C. You do not need to split the object into parts. Object storage split the object into parts and upload all the part automatically. You must manually split the object before uploading. OCI does not automatically split objects for you. So option C not a correct choice. Option number D, you do not have to communicate the upload after you have uploaded all the object parts. After uploading all the parts, you must commit the multi-part upload to finalize and assemble the object. So option D also not the correct one. So option A and option B will be the correct choice.